Hello, good morning, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to our December community webcast. My name is Caitlin Lamb. I'm the Product Marketing Manager for CA Agile Central. Today we have a great presentation by Marianne and Kyle Morse. They will be talking about extending CA Agile Central with apps. So just some housekeeping items. We will be using the Q&A tab on the right. If you have any questions, feel free to use this tab. We will be addressing questions at the very end, and if your question didn't get addressed live on the call, we will certainly address them in a document and upload them to the communities along with this replay. So without further ado, I will pass it over to Kyle and Marianne.
Awesome. Thank you, Caitlin. So just a quick introduction on us. My name is Marianne Graham. I am a product owner here at Agile Central. I'm exhilarated by customer feedback, and I thrive on taking that feedback from my team to our training to help motivate our developers and build better products. Outside of work, I'm also a volleyball and hiking enthusiast, and thankfully we have quite a few places to hike and a lot of volleyball here in Colorado.
Hi, I'm Kyle Morse. I'm an architect, a writer of bikes, and a platform champion. I love building tools to enable customers to extend and customize their Agile Central experience.
To start off, some things to know about our presentation today. First of all, we will be doing all of our demo and instructions with our new navigation, which is one of my favorite new features. This allows you to pin pages that you care about the most to the sidebar for quick access in the future. For those of you that haven't turned on new navigation yet, you are able to do this by clicking on your little face in the top right corner of Agile Central, going down to new features, and you should be able to select new navigation there. I highly recommend trying it out and seeing what it's like. Once you get everything set up, it makes my life so much easier. Second, we do have plenty of fun stuff to talk about in this presentation, but it is for you. Please feel free to submit questions through the WebEx so we can talk about more about the things that you're most interested in. And the third thing is that Kyle and I have put together a getting started guide that has some links for helpful things to go over before the presentation, or you can always go over these afterwards. Feel free to check out our community post, which we will also be updating after this presentation with more links and other helpful things. You can also ask additional questions here if you think of something in the next couple of weeks when you're playing around with the app catalog or app SDK. Feel free to ask us questions here and we will respond to them. So why are we here, and why should you care about this presentation today? Imagine all the things that you can do with Agile Central. Your favorite pages provide so much insight into what teams are doing and allow you to train and allow your train to reach alignment. But have you ever wished that you could have a page that has exactly what you need? Or perhaps you want to customize the data in a way specific to your company? That's why we have custom pages. Custom pages are the second most loaded pages by our customers in Agile Central. Today we're going to teach you how to harness the power of these pages to make your company move faster and make better decisions. Turns out that Kyle and I both love Legos, and so we thought we'd start with an analogy talking about how all these pieces fit together that involve Legos. First to talk about is apps, the second one from the left here. You can think of apps as a way of, like a pre-built room for your custom page house. This allows you to visualize information in Agile Central. Whether it's through a chart, list, or board, this allows you to see your work or data on what you and your teams are doing. We have quite a few built-in apps which you can think of like rooms, and these go in your custom page house. Now, if the apps in the apps catalog aren't exactly what you're looking for or you want to extend them further, you can use App SDK, which is essentially the building blocks for these rooms. These allow your company, you to completely customize how you will view your work, data, or bring other information into Agile Central. Kyle will be talking about these a little later in the presentation. So once you have these apps that are either built in or with App SDK, then you build this custom page, which is like a container for all the apps or like a Lego house. And then the app catalog is kind of like a Lego real estate store where you can go and shop for all the apps that you want to add to your custom page. So let's start with apps. Again, this is like a room in your house, maybe like a sweet Lego kitchen. This one was pretty cool, I thought. These provide a way to display work items and other data in a variety of ways that you can customize your needs. Agile Central has many apps that let you manipulate and display data to suit your needs. The example on the side of on this slide specifically is called our custom chart app, which allows you to pick a chart type to display data in the way that's most meaningful to you. I'm going to go through some other examples here. Sorry. This is a custom page I made for this demo. These are some of our three of our most popular apps. This first one here is a custom list, which allows you to list a view of user stories, defects, or other work items. Also lets you customize which columns you're displaying. I can choose my columns here, which ones I want to display. And we also have different filters, so I can narrow down the information based on what I'm interested in, maybe by owner, maybe by release, or whatever. I can choose my results based on that. Our second app here is our Kanban board, which is by far one of our most popular apps. This gives teams the option of managing pull-based lean software development projects. Work items are displayed in cards and can be moved across the board as your team makes progress on the work. The last one here is one of our most versatile apps called Custom HTML. Kyle will be going over how to use these a lot more later on, but as you can gather from the title of this app, this is one that will let you completely customize what is displayed. By adding the HTML either from a community GitHub repo or from an app that you've built with App SDK, you can completely change up what you're showing on a custom page. In this one, for example, if I look at the source in it, I can see that I can just copy and paste HTML or JavaScript in here. And when I save, this is just a simple Hello World app. It displays whatever I'm looking for. Now talking about moving on to dashboards and custom pages. This is how you assemble all those apps, which are the Lego rooms in your house. So a little bit on the difference between dashboards and custom pages. Dashboards are something that everybody starts with, and they all have some recommended apps on them. Custom pages aren't available. Basically, you don't get one by default, but you can create as many as you want, and these are up for sharing. So with a custom page, this allows you to add the apps you want and share them with who you're interested in. So we're going to go over real quick where your dashboard is so that you're aware of it, and also where your custom page is, how to create a custom page. So if I go to New Navigation and click on the ... next to Pages, I can go to my dashboard. And again, this is populated with a bunch of default apps. We recommend taking these, deleting the ones you're not interested in, and adding the ones that you do care about. Now, for example, if I use, we'll say I use the team board page the most. So I'll go to team board here, which is another one of our awesome new pages. If I want to change my landing page, so for most of you probably when you log into Agile Central, it'll drop you onto your dashboard by default. If I'm interested in changing that up so I default to another page, in New Navigation, when I search for the page that I'm looking for, I can click the little gear icon and set that as a start page. So maybe instead what I want to do is I want to create a custom page. The way we can do that is when I go again into New Navigation, and in each of the sections there's a custom option with a plus sign. If I click that plus sign, it'll let me create a custom page. So we'll call this Webcast test page. Oops, not that one. Sorry, missed the box. You can see as well underneath this, it lets me share it either with all projects, or I can select which specific projects I want to share it with. The other cool thing about custom pages is the bottom part here. This allows us to filter what shows up on these pages. We have a handful of apps that will respect these different filters. And so you can imagine with an iteration, or release, or milestone filter, this allows you to use the drop-down at the top of the page to customize what's showing up on the page. We'll save and close that as is for now. So here's my Webcast test page. I can then select my layout on here, so if I want all of my apps one wide, or I can pick 2 columns, 3 columns, or 2 columns of different widths. This allows me to do all that. So before we start adding apps, let's talk a little bit about our app catalog. App catalog is your central location for shopping for all of your custom apps. All of your apps, that are in the app catalog or any of your subscription apps. This will be the cheapest shopping spree you ever take because all of these apps are free. We have 3 separate sections in the app catalog. The first one is the core section. These are the tried and true apps that provide a foundation for custom pages. We've had these for many years and continue to add more of them. The community catalog is a new section of our app catalog. These are some of our customers' favorite apps that are available for everybody on the Rally community in GitHub. And we've incorporated some of the favorites into our product. So if you have this turned on for your subscription, you should be able to access these community apps as well. The subscription app catalog is a place that your subscription can choose which apps to share with all users. So perhaps you have a specific twist on one of the existing apps, or perhaps you've built an app of your own. This will allow you to share this with all users for all custom pages in your subscription. Let's take a look at some of these. When I click on Start Adding Apps, this will show me the app catalog. The 3 different sections that I mentioned before are all available under the Source dropdown. So for example, if I only want to see the core apps, I can also see this little blue core badge next to them here. And if I add one of these, for example, maybe I want to add a custom board, that blue core badge will show up here as well. For the community apps, when I go back up to the top right and select Add App, I can go down to the community section. We have community apps turned on. You can also see some pretty cool stuff in here. Custom Chart, for example, is one of our most popular apps. And you can also see in the app catalog that we have GitHub links for each of these. So if I click on the GitHub link, it'll take me to the source in GitHub, where you can download it, you can add it to a custom HTML app, customize it in the way that's best for you. This one works great for me, so I can add it as is. For subscription admins, if you are looking to manage your subscription app catalog, what I'll do is I'll go to the subscription settings, and then under the subscription tab, I can see an app, the app section. So in here, this is where I would add or manage subscription apps. This is one that Kyle helped me add today. Oops. There we go. So in here I can add whatever name I want, a description for the app. This is a motivational cat generator, so I have a little image, which is an example of it. And then I paste that same custom HTML source in here. So the great thing about this is now that we have a motivational cat generator, anybody in my subscription, when they're creating a custom page, they can look for our subscription apps, and they can add a motivational cat generator to their custom page. Let's see here. There we go. I feel motivated. All right, so now you have an idea of the app catalog and what it's used for. But one other thing I did want to go over is when you are editing your page. So for example, let's say I want to take this test page and I want to filter it on release. We have these great little icons or badges on the apps which will tell you which ones are going to respect this drop-down. So when I change between the different releases here, for example, the ones with this orange release filtered badge, this means it will respect the release that's displayed in the top drop-down. Pretty cool. So now let's talk about some other custom pages that you might find helpful. Remember, with custom pages, you can choose sharing, so you can choose who you want to share it with, which projects. There's also a bunch of different filtering that you can do by iteration, release, and milestone. And then by adding apps and setting up the various settings on each of the apps, it will apply to all the users of the page so that you can share out your specific view of that page with everybody. Oops. Some examples here. So this is one. I created a board maybe that my team would use, for example. So I have a Kanban board here at the top, and then I added a custom list app which has our features for the quarter. You can see we have features listed in here which are all expandable. Mine, of course, is based on board games. So you can see all of these in here. And that way our team can not only look at the current work that we're working on, but also the other work that might be coming up for the quarter. Another example, some of our apps, maybe this is a page I want personally, so I wouldn't share this out with anybody. We have an app called My Tasks, which will let me see which tasks are assigned to me, and then also one for my notifications. You can imagine with the number of apps that we have in the app catalog, as well as the flexibility of all the apps you can build yourself, the different possibilities you have with this. And again, remember this is the #2 most used page in our product, so all of our customers are loving this as well. On that note, I will hand it off to Kyle to talk about App SDK.
Okay, thanks, Marianne. All right, so now that you're all pros at using apps, it's time to level up and build your own. So you may be asking yourselves, why would I want to do that? The answer usually falls into one of a couple categories. Maybe there's an existing app in the catalog that you really like, but it doesn't quite meet your needs. Maybe you want to show different fields or new roll-up information, or for it to have a different look and feel, or maybe you just need to modify it to support a specific process of yours. Or maybe you have a totally innovative need that no one has built a solution for yet. Say you need to roll up and radiate some metrics unique to your business, or to be able to show off some new charts or graphs, or you want to be able to mash up data from Agile Central and other third-party tools like Jenkins or GitHub. A lot of you can already do pretty amazing things with Excel, so why are apps a better choice? Well, first, you get to stay in context in Agile Central. Agile Central is the single source of truth for all your data, and your data is super fresh. There's no stale data here. And you can share it with all your friends without the 30-message long email chain. Okay, that all sounds great. So who is doing all this app rating? The answer is everybody. So just last month, we had almost 1,500 unique custom apps used by just under 24,000 different people. All time, we've had over 6,000 unique apps written and used by over 140,000 unique people. And it's not just a few apps here and there. Our 5 biggest app consumers use over 100 distinct apps every month. The next 20 top users are using somewhere between 30 and 80, and there are another 100 after that use at least 10 custom apps per month. So next question, do you need to be a rock star developer to write apps? Absolutely not. We designed the App SDK with the occasional developer in mind. I personally helped POs, testers, and support folks learn to write apps, and you can do it too. Some more examples of some apps that have been written by a few different roles. We have Scrum Masters writing apps for helping facilitate team retros, like the iteration retrospective app that's in the community catalog. Another good example is subscription administrators writing apps to help with repetitive tasks like bulk user permissioning, or even a release train engineer writing an app to get some additional insight into release train delivery metrics. All right, it's time for science. So what exactly is an app made of anyway? Apps are just a bit of HTML, JavaScript, and CSS, the languages of the web. So here you can see the overall anatomy of an app. On the outside, there's an HTML container. Next, a script include to pull in the App SDK JavaScript code. Then another script block, which here's where your actual app code lives. And then finally, a style block at the end with any custom styles for custom look and feel in your app. There's no need to memorize all this boilerplate. We've automated the creation of most of this, and we'll go over that here in just a little bit. And so as Marianne showed earlier, the custom HTML app is the vehicle by which custom app code is transformed into a custom app in Agile Central. So again, here's just a screenshot of actually pasting HTML code into a custom HTML app and then running it. Hello there, world. If you're a programming language geek like me, you'll know that Hello World program is just a simple program that demonstrates the language syntax enough to just print a Hello World message. Here's that as an app. And Marianne showed this running live earlier too. All right, so that all sounds awesome. So how do we actually do this? Well, it's a simple 4-step process. First, we need to install Rally App Builder. Second, we need to write some code. Step 3, something, something, something. And step 4, profit. Seriously, though, let's start with installing Rally App Builder. So it's a utility that we've made to help you. It removes most of the tedious and repetitive steps. And it generates that boilerplate app skeleton that we were talking about earlier, so you can just focus on writing your code. It's written in JavaScript, so it requires the Node.js runtime, and it should work great on both Mac and Windows. We don't have time to demo the full installation process here, but check out the included links in the slide to be able to get started with that. All right, so once that's all installed, we'll make a new directory to keep all of our app files in. So in this case here, you can see I made a new directory called My New App. Then we'll use Rally App Builder to initialize a new app called My New App in this case. You'll see the output from this terminal window that is creating a bunch of files for us. So let's check that out. What you want to do next is open that directory in your favorite editor. This is Visual Studio Code, which is what I like to use, but really anything that you're familiar with will work. Atom, Notepad, VI, pretty much any editor you like to use. So let's take a look at the config.json file. This is kind of a descriptor for all of the contents of your app. So first you'll see here there's the app name. A little bit farther down, there's the Agile Central server that we're using. The default Rally 1 should almost always work for you, unless you happen to be an on-prem customer or you access Agile Central through eu1.rallydevs.com, in which case you would just copy and paste your correct server in there. The SDK version, in this case 2.1, which is the latest and greatest, that's what you should be using if you're doing some new app development. And then finally, there's just a list of all of the different code and style files required to make your app work. So the next file that we're going to take a look at is app.js. This is where we're going to write our code. And so if you take a look here, there's a launch method specified on line 4. That's the entry point for your app. That's basically where your app will start actually executing. And so right there where there's that comment that says write app code here, yes, that is where you start writing your code. And there's even a link to the docs for when you need help getting started. All right, so let's see what this does so far. Rally App Builder's best trick is to be able to run your app outside of Agile Central, right on your machine. So we'll do a Rally App Builder run. That's in the terminal window on the left there. And then bam, the app will pop open in your default browser. It doesn't do much yet because we haven't really written any code, but let's change that. So a lot of times, the easiest way to get started with app writing is to modify some existing code. So let's grab this example app from the SDK docs. It's a simple grid of defects with a little filter at the top to be able to narrow down the results by state. And so I'm going to flip over here real quick to the example here. So here's this example in the app SDK docs. And we'll copy and paste this app code from the example so that we can then actually have that ready to go in our editor. So here we have the code in our editor. Right. And then we'll save that, and then we can refresh. And then there we go. There's the app running with that new code. And like the example showed, we just have a little data table of defects filtered by state. That was so much faster than trying to edit a big HTML file and continuously copying and pasting it back and forth into a custom HTML panel every time we want to change something. That's one of the best features of Rally App Builder. Okay, so that's a lot of smoke and mirrors. What if we build something live together right now? All right, so I'm going to flip over to my terminal and my VS Code. And so here, this should be the same example app that we were just looking at in the presentation. And I have it running right here, My New App. And so you can see here's our grid of defects. So first, let's change it so that rather than, let's add another column in here so that we can actually see who the owner of these defects are so that we know who we might want to talk to get a status update on how this work is going. So down here where we're adding this Rally Grid component in the column config section, we're just going to add owner in here and then save that, and then we'll flip back over here and refresh. And there we go. So none of these defects have owners yet, but you can see the owner column showed up here in the grid on the right-hand side. And this grid is also editable, so if we did really want to assign one of these to somebody, we can do that here, and that all works totally fine. Another thing that might be a nice thing to have here is right now these defects are filtered by state, but what if we want to change it so that we're filtering by priority instead, so that we can really zero in on some of these important defects that we should really try and fix. So I'm just going to go through and modify this example to work off of priority rather than state. And so I'm just going to change, this is the label of that little drop down at the top. In this rally field value combo box component. I want to also change the field that we're referencing here from state to priority, so it'll load all of the available priorities instead. And then a little bit farther down here where we're creating a filter to tell the Web Services API that we only want defects with a specific state. We just need to change that so that we're now referencing defects with a specific priority instead. So we'll type priority in there, and then if that all went well, when we refresh here, we should have defects by priority. So this one, you can see the priority of that one is none. If we flip over, get resolved immediately. So these are those really important ones. And similarly on down the line, we should be able to filter. Here's the normal ones. So great, that's super cool. So now that we've built our awesome app, it's time to get it back into Agile Central so everyone can start using it. So we'll flip back over to the slides here again. So for Rally App Builder's final trick, we'll use the build command. And so as you can see from the output here, this is where all of the code files are assembled into one HTML file that we can then use. And so then all we need to do here is copy and paste the contents of app.html from the deploy folder, and then paste that into your custom HTML app and click Save. All right, and there we go. So that should be exactly the same app that we had running externally, now running right within our dashboard in Agile Central. All right, so that was a super fast and very superficial overview of what building an app entails. So when you run back to your desk after the webcast to write an app, where do you go to learn more? So the best reference is probably the App SDK docs. They contain some really nice guides for getting started, such as a first app walkthrough, how to work with data in the Web Services API. I'll just bring these up here so I can show. So here's there's a whole section of guides in the App SDK docs. Getting started in Rally App Builder, how to build your first app. There's a whole bunch in here around working with data models and data stores and being able to access data through the Web Services API, and a whole bunch more. Another useful thing in the docs here, there are a bunch of great examples. So again, here, if we click the little example light bulb link at the top, this filterable grid is the example that we're playing with for this webcast, but there are a whole bunch more for most of the most used big components like grids and boards and charts. So this is a great place to go to get started if you know that you're going to be writing a grid app to get some code to start with. And then one other nice thing is we've created a handful of getting started exercises. We've used these internally to help teach people here at CA how to write apps. And this is a progressively more difficult set of exercises designed to teach app writing skills, so things like data access, context, working with components, et cetera. And the nice thing with these is there's solutions provided for all of them. So you can try it, and then if it's not working, you can always take a look at the solution and figure out where it didn't quite come together for you. So that's those 3 links there. Some more prior art. So again, it's easier to start from working code rather than trying to write everything from scratch, especially when you're still new at this. And so the first link there is the official app catalog. The source for the vast majority of the core apps in the app catalog are available in here. So as an example, if you want to tweak the Kanban app, here's a great place to go to get started. So here is that's here in the app catalog, and again, so there's links in here to all the source for the different apps. You can go and check that out. And then for that second link there, don't forget about the community apps too. So this is the source code for all of the community apps that are in the app catalog, and also a bunch more that aren't even in there yet. So There's a ton of stuff out there. Definitely go check it out. Okay, still need some more help? If you have questions as you go, we're here. So we have a Stack Overflow tag and also a CA community site, and we monitor both of those for technical questions about app writing. And then finally, if you need even more help, we have an awesome professional services team made up of app writing ninjas. So they offer everything from one-on-one pairing engagements to group app workshops to full-on contract app development. So, anywhere along that spectrum, they're here to help you out. And then a little pitch for hackathons, which are super cool. You get to pair with CA folks to build apps, eat pizza, and win fabulous prizes. Some of our best apps have been born during these events, including the custom chart that we were showing earlier. So if any of that sounds interesting to you, definitely reach out to your friendly neighborhood CA account rep for more information on all of that. And so that's all that we've got. I'm going to pass the ball to Caitlin, and she's going to talk quickly about the Agile Academy while we take a look at the questions you've been submitting as we go.
Great. Thanks so much, Kyle and Marianne. Really appreciate the demo and all the information that you've shared. So I'm just going to take the ball back from you.
Oh, I have to stop sharing there.
And I just want to share, while Kyle and Marianne have a chance to review some of the questions, feel free to utilize the Q&A feature on the right tab and submit any questions that you have. I just would like to share a new product announcement. It is easier access to CA support straight from Agile Central platform. So I could tell you about it, but I would rather show you through this quick demo made by John Streeter from our support team. Great. So if you ever find yourself in CA Agile Central and needing some support help, feel free to use that one-click support feature. And one last thing, we do have some great Agile Academy offerings. CA Agile Central End-to-End. This is a course formerly known as the CA Power User class. We do have a live class coming up in the Boulder location on March 6th through 7th. And this class is for you if you're new to using Agile Central and want to get your teams and helping them get the most out of it as well. We also have a number of Agile certification classes listed to the right. And if you want to learn more about these course offerings or when they're going to be offered, please feel free to visit agileacademy.ca.com for more information. And with that, I will pass it back to Kyle and Marianne to answer some of the great questions that you submitted.
Thank you. I see there's 2 questions so far, which we responded to in the chat, but just to also put it in the recording. So first question was around if this is going to be available in an on-prem release. The app catalog, as well as the ability to develop your own apps, and most of the apps that we showed today are already available in the current on-prem release. At the beginning of November, we did an app catalog refresh, which basically gave the app catalog a new look and feel, added the badges, which are the little displays at the top of each app that tell you if it's iteration, release milestone filtered, and which catalog it's coming from. Those, as well as the community app catalog, those are all available, will all be available in an upcoming on-prem release. But for current on-prem releases, you should still have an app catalog. You should be able to create custom pages. You should be able to use the app SDK. And also, you should be able to add things to your subscription app catalog. So the answer is yes. That's a very long yes. And then the second question, will the deck and links knowledge be shared after the session. Yes, we will have a community post with all the information. We shared a lot of information today, and there's a lot of really awesome links with App SDK and all the custom pages. So we'll be sharing all of those out so you can access them going forward, as well as the recording of this presentation. Are there any other questions?
All right, well, thank you so much, Marianne and Kyle, again, for taking the time today to share this great information on custom apps and providing your live demos. To everybody on the call, we will be posting this presentation and the replay back on the CA Agile Central community. And please feel free to join us in the January webcast. The topic is TBD, but if you follow the communities, you'll get the first updates on that. Thank you so much, everyone, for your time, and we look forward to seeing you next month. Bye. Take care, everybody.